Here's your host, Alex Garrett.
Oh yes, those Hollywood nights could be back on because we might have a deal in Los Angeles tonight. I had to jump on this app just for a little bit because it's a strike that we've seen for months, lasted over 140 days. Over 140 days. Thousands of actors out of work. Thousands of stars coming out in support of actors that really are afraid to be replaced by artificial intelligence, right? But, just breaking a little while ago, and I want to deliver the news to you, it looks like the Writers Guild of America and the studios have reached a tentative deal to end this strike. This contract would be 3 years, so it has to be ratified by the union's 11,500 members, according to the LA Times, boosting pay rates, and the biggest problem that we heard all the time about the residuals and streaming shows. So it looks like they got what they're looking for. Obviously, we know the writers have been on strike since May 2nd. That we haven't had a late night show since that week, first week in May, which was a rough week personally, but we'll get to that at some point. Not only that, by the way, AMP is rating this. I'm simulcasting this on AMP and Spreaker, the One Leg Up feature tonight. Not only that, we hadn't seen the late night shows. We hadn't really seen SNL come back. Entertainment company leaders, they say, are expected to turn their attention to the 160,000 member performers union, SAG-AFTRA. That was the other one that went on strike since mid-July. So little by little, maybe there's unfolding of sorts to get entertainment, to get Hollywood back at it. As I've said before on my platforms on Spreaker, One Leg Up with Alex Garrett, it's remarkable to me that these executives didn't realize that the hardworking actors, even if they're background extra actors, in addition to like the George Clooney's of the world, or the Al Pacinos, and keep in mind, the Irishman already CGI'd these guys to look 30, 40 years younger. So AI has played a role in many ways already. Now you're going to tell them, oh, we don't need you. We are just going to use your likeness and artificial intelligence. No, that's not the way the world works. And as I said a while ago, I didn't understand why the studios couldn't get this one concept. And labor is typically linked to, the socialistic or the communistic. No. You know why they're not? In reality, because what these union members are doing when they're working is contributing to the capitalism that the studios are making. That's right. The workers contribute, right? They are working hard so that the jokes are funny, so that the set life, and if you will, can be done faster as extras and whatnot in these movies. All these members do something to contribute to the process, which makes the executives money. So it's no wonder that they were going to speak out when they've been feeling almost replaced by AI, right? It's no wonder. So that's the latest right now. This would be a big deal, obviously, for us as consumers and those who have friends in the acting, in the entertainment industry, and not just AI, the streaming issues as well. That was a crux of it too, right? The streaming. We had Kenyatta Simpson on the One Leg Up with Alex Garrett feature. He's an actor. He was striking. He was picketing at the different ones across New York, on the lines across New York City and whatnot. And to not be paid for streaming, and the reason for that is shorter seasons for streaming shows and fewer writers being hired have cut into guild members' pay and job stability, making it harder to earn a sustainable living in the expensive media hubs of LA and New York, according to Guild members themselves, as told to us by Kenyatta Simpson. So, in short, these industry leaders, these executives, think they can literally cut corners because streaming is so much easier to do, I guess. I don't know. But the writers are saying no. You're not going to pay us pay us for the work we did on these streaming shows. Actors, you're not going to pay us for the work we're doing on these streaming shows. You're going to try and replace it with AI. We're not standing for it. And you know why? Because they know that the executives in Hollywood studios are making that millions of dollars on this. You can't throw a few extra bucks to those that contribute to your earnings, the behind the scenes guys. Now, I think it's a load of bullcrap. I think it's a load of bullcrap that all of a sudden, industry leaders were so upset because actors were missing sales pitches. It was all about them making the money, but they're forgetting that the 160,000 of these members and the writers are making them the money. They're contributing to the capitalism. They're contributing to the financial success of these shows. I know I said it. I'm going to repeat it myself if you didn't hear it before. If you're just new to the One Leg Up with Alex Garrett podcast. The writers, especially for late night. You know why a Seth Meyers, a Stephen Colbert, a Jimmy Fallon, praying for him by the way, and Jimmy Kimmel can go out to these sales meetings? Because the writers behind them in the back room of the Ed Sullivan Theater or whatnot, or down in the basement of 30 Rock, I kid, but seriously, the guys in the back room writing the jokes are helping make the show. It doesn't compute to these Hollywood studios that instead of lamenting, oh my God, the guys are missing the sales pitches. Well, maybe that's because the people behind those guys who make the shows through their writing, they're brilliant writing, by the way. Maybe, just maybe, they need to realize, oh, it is that little guy who's working his ass off to write the scripts for these talents. Maybe it's time we realize the hardworking men and women in all industries of media. There I said it, all industries, radio included. Radio included. And I'll go on record in saying that. But it is good news because I think if we're going to have an abysmal Jets and Giants season, which I hope not, but after today's losses and the Giants loss on Thursday night, and of course their opening night drubbing, maybe we need a little television to take our minds off of it. Maybe residuals should be more fair for those who partake and work hours and hours, take after take on the set. You got the writers behind in the back room. They got the background actors on the set for 10 hours, take after take after take. It might be extremely hot out too, or really cold out. But how many hours does it take for a guy to be on camera like that, take after take? Hours. And so maybe this standoff, maybe the United Auto Workers standoff could lead others to say, no, we're not going to put up with it anymore. This could be a cultural shift. I've been talking about culture the last 2 weeks. This is culture, baby, right here. that the writers did not lay down at the first contract they had, so no, we want fairer. That's a cultural shift right there. 140 days. It bothers me they call it twin strikes because I just... Can we name it something else? Can we call them the dual strikes? LA Times, the twin strikes? It just gives a New York City boy a PTSD reading that. No, the dual strikes. That makes more sense. They also make a good point here. Crew members have made financial sacrifices in historic show of solidarity. Crew members. The guys behind the camera, too. Small businesses, depending on the entertainment industry, also suffered. Now, albeit, we've gotten a few movies this summer. We've done the movie houses, my family and I. But clearly, I think what they're saying here is, hey, that small business across the street from 30 Rock may be suffering a little more because Jimmy Fallon's not live. SNL's not live right now. Because maybe that little shop in LA is not doing well because Jimmy Kimmel's off. And I want to wrap this up by bringing up Jimmy Fallon for a minute, because what the writer's strike and what the SAG-AFTRA strike, what this strike did, I'd say it brought out the ugliness that some might have had in their heart. You're telling me 16 current and former staffers combined that ran to Hollywood Magazine, I think it was. Maybe it was Rolling Stone. I have to look that up again. But ran to the tabloids and said, oh, Jimmy Fallon's work environment is toxic. It's terrible. We have crying rooms. We have this, that, and the other. I'm sorry, but would that have come out if there was no strike? Were they utilizing that as leverage against the Hollywood industry studios? Against NBC to say, hey, get this right for us because look what we're dealing with Jimmy Fallon? Because those accusations never came out before. It happened during a strike. You're telling me that was by accident? You're telling me that that those 16 that wanted to complain about a toxic work environment with Jimmy Fallon and the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon was not coordinated? Bull crap again. I have to believe that, and by the way, some news, he will not be replaced on the Tonight Show. I guess there was rumors that he might be after all this came down. I just want the guy to get help. You know, I always say this. I've said this the last few weeks since the Fallon thing came down. I feel bad for the guy. I really do. But I think there are two things which should have been warning signs. A, every character Jimmy Fallon has played on SNL, basically every character. I think of Sully, the Red Sox fan on SNL. He was acting drunk. He played drunk characters. In Fever Pitch, great movie. But he also played the drunk Red Sox fan. And you know what I think about that? Warning shot, art imitates real life type of shit. Art imitates real life type of shit. Now, what that means is that NBC, even Lorne Michaels, who knew this kid from way back when, I mean, David Wells, the pitcher for the Yankees, who talked about this no perfect game, was out partying with Jimmy Fallon the morning of, till 4 or 5 in the morning. So Fallon's partying days wasn't just yesterday, or for years on end, or like recent. It's been going on forever, since he's been known, I guess unknown. And in 2015 or 16, I read they could have gotten him help, but they didn't really get through to him, obviously. So I feel bad for Jimmy that he hasn't had better guidance on getting help from the NBC executives who rely on him to make the damn paycheck. You want to make the paycheck, you have a healthier work environment, and that starts with recognizing if your host has a drinking problem. I'm dead serious with that. Fallon's toxic work environment, showing up drunk, could be avoided if only he got the better guidance. But again, this writer's strike, it brought out some awesome moments of real big time actors like George Clooney. Stepping up for the actors who are behind the scenes. Probably himself too, because he's worried AI is going to replace him down the road. All they need to do is the image likeness, and that's it. And the voice even. But we've seen that kind of solidarity with the big fish trying to support the little fish. And I don't believe it's for ulterior motives. I think it's for a good reason. So we've seen that beautiful solidarity during the SAG-AFTRA writer's strike, dual strikes. But that Jimmy Fallon story, it never came out because they were too busy making him a success. They were too busy being a team. Now during the strike, these guys get bored, 16 of them, and make these and spill the beans, if you will. I won't say accusations because I think they are real to an extent, obviously. But come on. You're going to do a hit piece on Jimmy Fallon, a guy who's out of work, a guy who's probably still struggling with this. Can we call it addiction? And you wonder, media, why nobody gets help. It's because that's never the question, the answer. It's always about criticizing and canceling and whatever else you want to do. Michael Harrison said it right the other day. These podcasts, one bad word, I could be canceled. My guest could be canceled. But that's besides the point. Jimmy Fallon deserves a second chance once the SAG-AFTRA strike is over. That's my point to all of this. And I think we should pray for him, not prey on him and his addiction. Jimmy was great meeting that one time at Belmont Park. And that's a picture I'll never forget. And I hope you get the help you need, pal. Because I think all of us who remember you from the SNL days are enamored, absolutely enamored with you as a person. And we just want you to get better, man. But NBC, the rumor shouldn't be swirling. He should be able to have that second chance. He should not be canceled because of something you, NBC Studios, did not pick up on or choose to ignore or whatever. Maybe didn't push hard enough on. That's on you. That's not on Jimmy Fallon. And of the 16 former and current staffers combined that wanted to smear, I guess I'd call it, smear Jimmy Fallon's name. Great timing, pal. During a writer's strike. Coordinated effort much? Just resign the show. if you're not happy. And if you are, then why'd you even go in the first place? To stir some crap up for a man that thoroughly deserves a second chance after this whole dual strike bull crap is over. We want our television back. And as a blue-collar worker, we should want our on-the-ground people who give the executives a chance to shine, to sales rep, to clients, to big-name clients, big-name sponsors. That's because the little guy in the back room is doing it for you. Think of it that way. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get along better. And the lights, the camera, and the action will be back on once again. Rangers start their preseason home slate this week. And I didn't know this, but in the rafters of Rod Jobert and Willis Reed, by golly, Harry Styles is up there as well. I did not know that. But very, very strange. I know he got 15 consecutive shows at the Garden last year. I think he's got to be up there in the rafters with Bruce and with Billy Joel. But how about that? A little bit of tidbit for you. Willis Reed, Rod Jobert, and Harry Styles in the rafters of the Garden. Never would I ever think to have uttered that phrase. But hell, all three of them had one leg up in the Garden, didn't they? Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon on the Alex Garrett Podcast.